Welcome back, Seahawks. I'm your co-host, Davis Bell.
And I'm the new partner in crime, aka co-host and executive news reporter, Emma Tillman. Now let's get into news. Getting around campus efficiently is something all students aim for, but at what cost? UNCW is experiencing a rise in accidents involving electric scooters, skateboards, and other mobility devices across campus, and the university's police department is trying to do something about it. The Office of University Relations recently sent out a mass email to all students, faculty, and staff on behalf of the UPD as a safety reminder, urging pedestrians and operators of mobility devices to be more cautious around campus. A recent poll surveying 80 UNCW students found over half have reported witnessing a collision involving an electric mobility device within the last 2 weeks. These collisions can be avoided, and the UPD encourages all to be mindful of their surroundings, reduce speed when approaching intersections and crosswalks, and to just look up. Now over to Kenzie for a weather report.
Thanks, Emma. Western North Carolina is still on the road to recovery after Hurricane Helene bombarded the area with historic flooding. Efforts are underway to rebuild roadways, including parts of I-40 which were destroyed, as well as to restore power to over 1 million people who were without. Many grade schools and colleges, including UNC Asheville and App State, will remain closed for at least another week. Even so, the National Hurricane Center is monitoring 3 more hurricanes currently in the Atlantic Ocean. Most notably, Hurricane Milton, a Category 5 storm, is expected to make landfall in Florida sometime this week. The state is preparing for the largest evacuation since Hurricane Irma in 2017. Currently, North Carolina is not expected to see any major impacts. Elsewhere in the Atlantic, Hurricanes Kirk and Leslie are not predicted to make landfall in the United States, but will still cause dangerous rip currents and surf conditions. Students should ensure that they are signed up to receive UNCW alerts to keep up to date on hurricanes, weather, and other announcements from the university. Now over to Anna.
Thanks, Kenzie. UNCW announced last month that they would officially be closing the Office of Institutional Diversity and Inclusion. This decision comes after the UNC Board of Governors repealed the policy that required DEI offices at North Carolina public universities. The Upperman African American Cultural Center, Centro Hispano, Moen Schultz LGBTQIA Resource Center, and the Asian Heritage Cultural Center will remain open as part of student affairs. 13 employees were reassigned, but there were no layoffs. When asked about how this decision will affect minority students, SGA's Director of Diversity and Inclusion, Lillian Ogard, says, "These changes have the possibility to affect students in the sense that some of the previous staff will be in other parts of the university as opposed to being available within the centers. I want to extend empathy to all students struggling with this change and say that I am always available to reach out to. This is not an easy change for many, and the spaces may feel different because of it. Luckily, we still have our centers, and programming should be continued as before. This does not overstate that having feelings about these changes is completely valid." Now back to Emma.
Thanks, Anna. Davis, what's new in the world of sports?
Well, Emma, we've got a lot going on today, and we're kicking things off with cross country. So let's head over to Marie.
Thanks, Davis. UNCW's cross-country team ended their season this past Friday. Here's how they did. The season started on September 6th at home when the Seahawks hosted the Beach Blast 5K. Both the men and women finished third. Carly McCusker led the women's team, finishing fourth with a time of 19 minutes and 45.8 seconds. Taylor Anthony was the top finisher for the men, placing fifth with a time of 16 minutes and 9.8 seconds. 2 weeks later, on September 20th, the Seahawks soared to Raleigh for the Adidas XC Challenge, where the men finished 13th while the women finished 12th. McCusker and Anthony were the top Seahawks at this invitational as well, with McCusker finishing 93rd with a time of 19 minutes, 29.1 seconds, and Anthony finishing 101st with a time of 19 minutes, 58.3 seconds. The Seahawks' final appearance was this past Friday in Greenville at the ECU Pirate Invitational. The men finished 21st and the women finished 20th. Carly McCusker once again was the top performing Seahawk in the women's race, finishing 101st with a time of 23 minutes, 44.3 seconds. Nicholas Potter was the top finishing Seahawk in the men's race, finishing 174th with a time of 27 minutes, 5.2 seconds. Keep an eye out for the Seahawks when they travel to Elon for the CAA Championship on November 1st. Now over to Alexa with Swim and Dive.
This past week, we traveled to Hampton, VA to take on William & Mary, Delaware, and George Washington. We walked away with 2 W's for the men, one being against William & Mary and the other Delaware. Catch us this next week, October 12th, here in Wilmington versus Auburn.
Thanks, Alexa. Rugby played a top 10 club, North Carolina State, last Saturday and pulled off a huge upset that resulted in a 23-22 dub for our Seahawks. Our contributors to the score are Marshall Wiseman, Zay Arrington, and Ryan Swan, scoring a try each. I would like to give a special shout out to our fly half, Danny Marsh, for an outstanding kicking performance, securing the win. The crowd was amazing, with a special appearance from Sammy himself.
All right, and next up, y'all are playing at Coastal at these shore fields here at home on the 26th, and that should be a pretty exciting game after our break.
Totally. Coastal always brings excitement to the pitch. Definitely come out and support the team before Halloween creeps around the corner. It was a big weekend for rugby, but Sarah, hockey also was pretty busy.
Yeah, they had an early 6 o'clock game Thursday, and Vice Chancellor Davis came out for a ceremonial puck drop.
It was great to see her come out. They were also collecting supplies to send out to Western North Carolina this weekend.
Yeah, they accepted donations at all 3 games here at home this past weekend. There's been a lot of support across the state and League Two for sure.
Well, we won against Ryder Thursday, and we had a 3-2 loss against Wake Forest. They were on Friday, but it was Saturday's game that really went crazy.
No, seriously, especially after that loss. By the end of the first period there, we were up 4-0, and the score more than doubled by the end of the game. One of the best moments of the weekend was seeing Mason Burks get his first goal of the season. The guys on the bench went absolutely wild, and it's just really great seeing this team to come together as such a family.
For sure. A fun night with a big 11-2 win, and props to the goalie, Josh Davis, for another start and another win. The game got a little odd there with some calls and penalties. The refs were sending multiple guys back to the locker room.
Yeah, both teams were getting penalties and multiple guys sent off the ice. They got one of the Wake players for punching a ref. But hockey is heading out for their first road games over fall break, and they'll be playing up at Maryland the 11th and 12th.
That wraps up club sports this week. Keep an eye out on hockey this weekend, and be sure to check back next weekend for more club sports updates.
And now it's back over to you, Davis.
Thanks, y'all. That's not all we had in sports today, though. Men's and women's basketball had their media days last Thursday. And if you'd like to hear about that, you need to check out In the Hoop, Seahawk Central Sports' basketball show, where Ryan Wiener and I talk all things UNCW hoops. What other news is going on, Emma?
We've got some new updates with the theater department. Let's shift over to Emily.
The UNCW Theater Department's latest show, Everybody, delivers a compelling, dynamic performance worth seeing more than once. Based on the classic morality play, Everyman, this modern adaptation adds an exciting twist. The roles are assigned randomly through a live lottery. With 125 possible combinations, no 2 performances are the same. Memorizing the entire script, the cast does an impressive job with the spontaneous format. Adding to the experience is the beautifully designed set by UNCW alum Ross Helton, inspired by his home in Blowing Rock, NC. The natural elements create a stunning backdrop that grounds the play's themes in something timeless and relatable. Director Elizabeth Wellman reflects on the broader themes of the play, saying, "It emphasizes what we don't know about life, which is that anything can happen to any of us at any time, and it's something we all are going to go through." The play strikes a delicate balance, with Wellman adding, "This play tackles tough stuff, but leaves a lot of room for playfulness and humor. A blend of unpredictability and humanity, Everybody is a unique and unforgettable experience."
And that's all for this week's reporting. Tune in next week for more news.
We'll see y'all next time.